since late last night and a little bit into trying to locate the subject. This is going on 48 hours. 48 hours. It happened around the 49-mile marker on I-75. The search for Joseph Couch of Woodbine remains. We would like to thank our partners with the FBI, the ATF, local law enforcement, Fish and Wildlife, the Forestry Service, and London City Police and the Laurel County Sheriff's Department. That is very mute to the people that are involved with this. We have Rockcastle County Sheriff's Office. We have other police department agencies that have came and volunteered their time and their expertise to help with this. Jackson County Sheriff's Office. So it's just not the Kentucky State Police. It's just not the Sheriff's Office, our federal partners. There are so many people, and it's you all. You as being the news people that is reaching out, and I apologize to you all. I can't answer every call, every email. That's why we've done this at one location at one time. Just the amount of calls and emails that I've got, there's no way I can answer. So I apologize to you all, but thank you all for getting out as much information as you can, and correct information. This manhunt has become a methodical effort, similar like a hide and seek. We're focused on protecting the residents and their homes and the businesses during this critical time. Our goal is to apply steady pressure and wearing Mr. Couch down. The longer he is in the woods, last night it got pretty chilly, and today it's got kind of humid and hot. Hopefully he has no water and nothing to eat, and just time that we will wear him down and putting pressure on him with constant, steady our helicopters flying over, drones flying over, dogs, SRT in the woods looking, cars running up down the interstate. Just things like that is putting pressure on him, and hopefully he'll eventually just walk out of the woods and give himself up. That's what we hope will happen in this scenario. We've utilized all kinds of technology in searching. Like I said, we use helicopters, we've used drones, special response teams, not just from the Kentucky State Police. We've had the Laurel County Sheriff's Department, their special response team. We've had the FBI, we've had the ATF, we've had numerous local and small agencies that's volunteered their special response people to come and also assist in this. And clearly, if we continue to work together, hopefully we'll come out with a good resolution in this. This is a constant communication effort. So people, ask, why aren't we just going in there? If you've followed my Facebook in the last hour or so, we have gave you a photograph of the area. It's not like going over to this business and looking for somebody in there. It's not like going to a football field and trying to find somebody behind the bleachers. We are in the Daniel Boone National Forest, and this is thousands and thousands of acres. And I stated last night, it's kind of like a jungle. Well, it is like a jungle. And we have cliff beds, we have sinkholes, we have caves, we have culverts that go under the interstate, we have creeks and rivers, and the dense brush. I mean, it's not something I can just take my dog for a natural walk through. Yes, there are paths, but when we're looking for somebody, we have to go through those dense areas. We have to go and make sure no rock is unturned to find not just him, but to find evidence. And when you do these things with all the people involved, you got to have communication. So there's not a direct line when you first get there, even maybe the first day that the FBI can talk to the state police can talk to the sheriff's department. We have to tie those networks together and go out and do grid searches. Find certain areas that you're going to go and not track in behind each other. And also, you got to know who's to your left and to your right, and make sure they're safe. And you go very slowly, because not just you're looking for him, you're looking for evidence. You're looking, and yesterday we was able to obtain some evidence that the Sheriff's Department is working on their investigation side of it, and I'll explain that. A lot of people's kind of confused. Hey, what's the state police's role? What's the FBI's role? The Sheriff's Department. The Sheriff's Department is working the criminal investigation part of this. That means there was an active shooter on the interstate that harmed people. They shot people. They will be presenting this case to the Commonwealth Attorney here in Laurel County, and if for some reason the feds think there's a federal charge, or they believe it to be a federal charge, they can step in and help the Laurel County Sheriff's Department with that. The Kentucky State Police, along with the FBI, the Sheriff's Department, we are asked to step in to help with the apprehension and manhunt of Mr. Couch. That means we're boots on the ground right now. They initially got the complaint, and they have worked tirelessly out there, but they got to have a break. They got to be able to go investigate. They got to be able to go get search warrants. They got to be able to go home and see their family and get a night of rest so they think straightly. And that's why we utilize the Kentucky State Police. We have 16 posts, I said last night. We have resources, and we have a Kentucky State Commissioner that is amazing. He is going to get us the resources here in Laurel County to continue to look for Mr. Couch tirelessly. And sometimes these investigations, we hope that he's still in that area. We hope that we've got him contained. But we all know they don't always end that way. So we're going to continue. If our search gets broader, it gets wider, it leads to more miles, you know, we're going to go every day and try to find him. We've got him entered in NCIC. That means if he's not in this area and he's walking down the road and some deputy in Madison County or Whitley County or even in Tennessee gets out with him and, you know, sees some guy that's just wore down and fits the description, you know, hopefully they'll use caution. We've sent all the intelligence out to them other agencies, so when they do see him, they can say this guy fits the description. They can use caution, they can run him, and maybe that's how we find him. You know, we hope he's still there, but he might not be. But we're going to take all the leads. We want the citizens to call in on everything. If you see something that looks strange in your area where you live out, if you come home and your doors don't seem like that's how you left it, you know, back out and call somebody. If you're at home, don't be alone. Always have your cell phone, have a phone accessible to you. Check on your neighbors. Check on your elderly neighbors. Make sure that you've heard from them. Be a good neighbor and just check on them. Call them, say, I was just checking on you. Make sure everything's okay. Because in the Rockcastle area where we do have residents, there's a lot of homemade, like where people live there that come in from areas to camp. So maybe they don't have phones in those little buildings or shack or campers. So if people of Rockcastle that know these people, reach out and talk to them. Just say, hey, just checking on you. Didn't want to get in your business. Just want to check on you. If you hear your dogs, you know, barking late at night, you know, call. Check your phones if you have that technology to see if somebody's on a deer camera or your cameras, your Ring cameras. You know, before you go home, just scroll through it. Make sure if you see something that kind of looks weird, somebody walked through your yard, it could be nothing, but it could be something. And it could give us a lead to just drive down there and like I said, he could turn himself in, or it could get worse, and hopefully it doesn't. But dealing with communication, like I said earlier, everybody on the ground is communicating, has got to be able to talk to the helicopters. Helicopters got to be able to see them and put eyes on them, because if you helicopter sees them but he can't tell the person on the ground what he's looking for, it's kind of useless. And then we have to relay that stuff back to our command post, which relays it to post, and it kind of goes in every direction. We get people heading that way. So communication is big. It's big, and it's got to be the right communication, and that's why these things take so long. Our priority is the safety of everyone involved. We are committed to make sure that there is no harm to anybody in the community, and also to our first responders on the ground. Our job is to make sure every one of our people that's in a uniform goes home to their family. And that's our first priority. And if we have to go slow and like a snail, that's what we're going to do. Because we do not want anybody in our line of work or anybody in this community to be harmed. Like I said earlier, Mr. Couch is entered in NCIC. We encourage any tips to come. Please call us. Please call us. I guess I will leave. I will clarify some things for y'all that was kind of early in the investigation about his military service. He was in the military, but it was not the Army National Guard. It was the Army Reserves. So he's been discharged with an honorable discharge. So I wanted to clarify that. So I can open up the floor for questions for me or anybody in behind me.
Have you seen any evidence today that he is still in the woods and still alive?
So we still have people, I'm going to look this way, sir, I'm sorry. We still have people in the area, and we will remain in the area until we can't find him. This is very slow, and you got to look, the temperature has got up a little bit today. So our people are constantly, they're searching areas, they're searching grids, ATVs, four-wheelers, and you got to think it's hunting season. People still out there hunting. So we encourage people in the community, if you're going to be hunting, please don't be out at Cromer's Ridge and Livingston area. Please stay away from that area for a couple of days until we come to resolve. And people out in the community don't have somebody that I'm going to save the world. I'm going to just go out and go find him myself, because not only could you get harmed, you could get killed, and we don't want that to happen. And so, as of this time, the evidence has not come that we have located him, but it's very slow. It's a very slow process.
For any update on the victims, that's been a little confusing in the early stages of this. Still 5 hit by bullets on the highway. Is there a car crash, I understand, or what can you tell us about the victim?
So that would be part of the Sheriff's Department's investigation, and I apologize for that. I know bits and pieces, but not everything, and how many vehicles have been hit, car wrecks, I don't know that. We're here to find Mr. Couch, and that's our primary focus. Now, if we get information that helps the Sheriff's Department, we're going to share that information. Vice versa, they're sharing information with us. It's vast. I mean, it's moving. People's like, oh, you ain't getting information. Trust me, we're getting information so much it's overload sometimes.
Who is Sarah Mills, and what's her relationship to suspect?
I apologize. It's the first time I've ever heard that name.
What was it affidavit?
I didn't get the search warrants. The Sheriff's Department did. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Scotty, is there any evidence, you've seen any evidence that there was anybody involved in helping this guy other than him?
At this time, that's part of the investigation. Personally, I haven't, and I don't know if the Kentucky State Police has. Our job is just to try to locate this. It's something you might be able to ask another representative behind me, but today is us finding this Mr. Couch.
I'm looking at some of the details here. It seems like people...
Yes, sir.
The search beyond the forest.
Can you help?
At what point do you expand the search beyond the forest?
Well, we're gonna keep going. I mean, it will probably expand, and that's just the job we signed up for. We're gonna go as far as we can go until something leads us somewhere else. And this ain't something we're gonna pack up and go home, because the citizens of Laurel County and the citizens of Commonwealth or Rockcastle County, they expect that out of us. And this is not easy. It's tiresome, and let me also say this, crime just isn't happening in Laurel County today. It's happening everywhere. So, the Sheriff's Department and the Kentucky State Police, we have to answer calls in other communities, even in this county. And so we're going to continue to answer those calls. Don't hesitate to call us because you think you're bothering us because we're doing this. That's why we got resources that, surrounding posts like Harlan, Hazard, Madison, Columbia. We're going to continue to answer those calls.
Where many schools are closed today, are you in communication with the districts?
We are, and that's a great question. The schools, that would probably be a question for their leadership, but they're going to contact us and the Sheriff's Department and ask us our opinions, and their first priority is the safety of their children and their staff and their employees. And whatever they decide, we'll back them 100%. Our job is to find this guy and bring this to an end, and so they can get back to going to school, playing sports, and just being at calm and ease.
Are you advising them to stay closed, Scotty?
Sir?
Do you know if you're advising them to stay closed?
At this time, it's up to the superintendents, every school district. When it snows, one school right down the road might not close, but another one might. So I can't tell them what they need to do. They'll make their own judgments. They will contact us and ask us our opinions, and we appreciate those opinions. But they have to do what they think is safe for their community, their kids, and their employees.
Scott, you mentioned that you don't agree. Is there anything new that y'all are trying today?
Listen, we love technology, and we love people coming in to help. And there's numerous resources. These gentlemen behind me with the ATF and the FBI, and they might be a training out there that maybe some of us don't even know about the technology. We have people that are professionals in computer software who give us the terrain. I gave you photos of it, and you look and you're like, oh, that's just the woods. Until you get out there, there's more to it than just the woods. Sinkholes, caves. There's animals out there. There's snakes. There's all kinds of stuff. So you got to use caution, and usually that technology that they're giving us is helped out. Especially if we have, like late last night, we took troopers in. I think around 25 troopers went in and done a grid search. It was starting to get dark, and you got to protect those troopers. You can't have them just because you got a flashlight doesn't mean you can see everything around you. So you got to protect those troopers and tell them the areas that they're going.
You mentioned that you're not aware of.
Yes, sir.
WJTE Radio, and I first want to say I appreciate the job you guys are doing. And
Thank you.
How long do we have a timeline of how long he was up there shooting the cars before and do we know what spook he was causing the stuff to run?
At this time, I do not know that. I apologize. That's a great question, but I do not know that answer at this time.
Have you searched his residence?
Do what, sir?
Have you searched his residence?
That is a part of the criminal investigation, but that's pretty common. We've not left no stone unturned, and that's probably a stone that we have looked into.
How many blocks do you have on the ground?
Yes, sir.
I hate to sound like a movie, but does this guy have some sort of survival training, or is he just a regular?
He's been in the military. Just because you're in the military don't mean you're, a professional survivalist. Talking about maybe wearing him down, that's what. It don't matter if you are a survivalist. If you're out there without water and food, how long can you really survive? And we hope he just walks out. Gives up. And we didn't talk about this last night. There is people that are hurt. There is people that are injured. But at this time, nobody has died. And let's not make this, if he does have social media, if he does have a family out there that cares for him, turn yourself in. Don't make this worse than what it is. Just give up and make our community get back to what it is. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Can you speculate as to what his motive may have been?
I do not know, sir. I apologize. I do not know that.
And as a follow-up, I'd like to ask, how many boots do you have on the ground that are out on this search?
Well, I was there early this morning, and I probably seen over 100 cars. Not saying there's 100 people in the woods, because we kind of take them in groups, and you don't want to take, because you got crossfire. If something bad was to happen, you don't want to put people in harm's way, and you want to keep them separated. So I'm not going to say we got 100 people in the woods, but I say we have teams and we have groups, and we keep them out there. We bring them back in. It's kind of like a canine. You got a bomb threat in a school. You can't walk one dog through a whole school. You got to bring them back for water, and that's what we're doing here. We're bringing people back in, let them get refreshed, and then they go back out. And that might be something. It might be today, and it might be a week from now, but we'll continue to do that.
Do you believe he's still alive?
I don't know the answer to that. The man upstairs probably knows the answer to that better than I do. And
what percentage knowledge would you say?
Well, the weather's not being that cold.
We have been listening to an update from state police in Kentucky about the search for the man suspected of firing at multiple cars on a busy interstate highway Saturday. Talking about the weather there, saying last night was slightly chilly. Police say Joseph Couch shot at 12 cars and wounded at least 5 people. They believe Couch has fled into a nearby national forest that has incredibly dense, difficult terrain to trek through, cliff beds, sinkholes, caves, creeks. So they have groups of people searching. He said there are at least 100 cars there. Doesn't mean there are 100 people in the woods. They've been bringing people in and out in groups. They also have helicopters and drones. They say they believe they are applying enough pressure on him that it is a matter of time before they wear Couch down and find him. They say that they still consider Couch armed and dangerous. We're going to continue to monitor this. But for now, we are going to take a quick break. You're streaming CBS News 24/7.
These are the stories
1, 2, 3, go!
of We the People.
We're trying to generate our own hope.
It's a huge deal.
I'm enabling them to feel valued.
Eye on America. Weeknights on the CBS Evening News with Nora O'Donnell.
I had progressively fallen deeper into the world of online sports betting.
The risk is the rush.
What do you think is driving the spike in popularity?
I think it's legality.
If it's legal, I'm going to use it. There are ways to bet when you are 18.
We've created an epidemic of child gambling.
You can't walk into a male dormitory in a college campus without sports betting happening.
It's America's most neglected problem.
I use sports betting as a way to escape, when in reality, I'm choosing self-destruction. Whatever I had left, it was gone.
The purpose of the industry is to get you to play to extinction. And that means until all your money is gone.
Go to the ends of the earth. Reach for the stars.
Yeah, I just took off. That kind of thing.
Oh, that's pretty good. Because there's always something new under the sun on CBS Sunday morning.
America Decides is your place for fact-based, unbiased reporting.
At the White House, at the Capitol, on the campaign trail. What do you say to those in your party?
Any cracks in the Republican Party?
Our reporters and our anchors travel the country talking to voters like you
about the issues that matter most.
Immigration is really a factor right now
that are going to be driving your decisions.
What would you say to those who say, look, that's just democracy at work?
Listening to you and bringing your voice into our coverage.
I want a strong, proud America.
Is democracy on the ballot in 2024?
Let us help you decide.
America Decides. Stream our expanded one-hour program Monday through Thursday at 5 p.m. Eastern.
exclusively on CBS News 24/7, the streaming home of CBS News.
People with developmental disabilities were once sequestered by the hundreds of thousands in institutions.
Many of our fellow citizens are suffering tremendously because lack of attention, lack of imagination, lack of adequate manpower.
Disability activists have since torn down barriers blocking them from living at home or in the community.
We conclude that Title II of the ADA requires states to provide community-based treatment for persons with mental disabilities.
But of the 16,000 people who remain in state-operated institutions, half are in 5 states, and Illinois is one of them.
I don't want to live in the institution. It makes me feel discriminated against.
Do you think there are people living in institutions in Illinois that don't need to be living there?
Yeah, because they're proving it as soon as they get out.
Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump are gearing up for their first presidential debate tomorrow night. The two candidates are taking very different approaches in preparing for their only scheduled debate at this time. Harris has been practicing with a campaign advisor, standing in for her rival. Trump has been taking a more informal approach, brushing up with staffers on policies. Our CBS News Battleground Tracker shows an extremely tight race in 3 crucial states, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Michigan. With Election Day just 57 days away, tomorrow night's debate could be pivotal. Let's bring in senior White House and political correspondent Ed O'Keefe. Ed, what is Harris's strategy going into the debate?
Lindsay, good to see you. It is more formal, more typical rehearsal style preparation. She has spent the last several days at a downtown Pittsburgh hotel with aides, trying to replicate what the studio itself will look like tomorrow night in Philadelphia. We're told there's a stage, there's cameras, there's lights, there's lecterns, and there's an ability to go back and watch the tape, review the tape with her team to get a sense of not only what she's saying, but how she's saying it on camera, remembering that ultimately this becomes a pretty intimate video experience for whoever is watching this, however they're watching this. And so she is expected to fly this afternoon from Pittsburgh to Philadelphia to continue preparations from there. But it's now going on essentially 4 days in the Keystone state of Pennsylvania, arguably the most critical battleground state, using it as the backdrop for her preparations here with policy aides, longtime campaign aides, a handful of others, senior officials with the current presidential campaign, her husband, Doug Emhoff, and a handful of other family and friends.
Okay, so lights, lecterns, cameras. What is Trump doing?
Not quite that. As we understand it, it's been far less formal, more conversations or maybe quick review sessions with aides and other associates like the Florida Congressman Matt Gaetz, who've been kind of reminding him of what his stance is on certain issues, trying to keep him focused on policy, on the issues themselves, less on the personal, believing that if he can try to remain substantive throughout this exchange, he's got a better shot of holding his own and potentially holding the slim lead he enjoys to some extent in various surveys. If it gets personal, as it's prone to do, then all bets are off. But he has spent the last several days either at his homes in New Jersey or now in Florida, headed up to Philadelphia tomorrow for that event, and we'll see how he does. But as he says publicly, no need to formally prepare or rehearse the way Harris does, because as he likes to put it, he's been preparing for this his entire life. That may be the case, but there have been at least some more formal conversations with aides about policy, about other issues to refresh his memory and make sure he's got answers ready.
Well, and the Harris campaign themselves says this is where Trump shines. Perhaps they're trying to increase expectations for him.
Yeah.
But Ed, let's talk about this new Harris campaign ad ahead of the debate. It's expected to show some of Trump's own top administration officials saying he's not fit for office. What do we know?
That's right. This is an ad that's going to be airing in places where the former president has a tendency to watch television. Palm Beach, Florida, Philadelphia, where he'll be by tomorrow, and the Fox News channel. It is an ad that's part of the ongoing $350 million ad buy this fall by the Harris campaign, designed to target it at him and his most ardent supporters, replaying the comments of the former vice president, as you see there, Mike Pence, the former defense secretary, Mike Esper, his former national security advisor, John Bolton, and comments made generally about leaders like Trump by the former chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Mark Milley. All of it designed to remind viewers, those that see it besides Trump perhaps, that those that have worked closest with him, some of those who've worked closest with him, fear another 4 years of Donald Trump. All of this, the expectation setting, the word that, Harris has been practicing with an aide that's dressed like Trump, this ad's all designed to get into his head, all designed to stir the pot in hopes that the Trump that shows up is an angrier one and someone who's going to get more personal, because Democrats know if that's the guy that shows up, he has a tendency to turn off those swing voters that are needed in the battleground states to win.
Ed O'Keefe, thank you.